It's a new week in the Crew Motorfest, and this week's theme is called Porsche Ahead, and this is my summit guide. Let's go. All right, starting out with the cars. We've got only one car for this entire summit, and that is the Porsche Carrera GT Ahead Edition. You have to buy this in the shop. This one costs 1.3 million bucks, or you can buy the custom bundle that has all of these neat vanities in it, but that's totally up to you. I just bought the car itself. All right, the keys to the summit is really just learning your gutter turns, and there's only a couple of little cuts. So I'll show you the best lines that I can, and the rest of it's going to be up to you, but there's definitely some techniques that I'll show you on a couple of these races. So let's get into it. All right, here are the rewards for this week's summit, and here are the pro settings for the Carrera GT Ahead Edition. All right, the first event is called A Unique Story, and this is the brand new Germany Porsche event from the Luxury Chronicles playlist. I don't know why I couldn't think of that word. And you're going to be using, obviously, the Carrera GT. You're using it for the entire summit. This one's a loan version, so it doesn't have any parts on it. There's a few things that you need to know about this race. First is this cut right on this first corner. Cut left right by the tree. Keep the car pointed to the left. You can go across the grass and then, connect with this gutter right here. There's a lot of gutter turns in this race, so you really need to practice it. You need to work on it. I have a gutter guide linked in the description if you need some help figuring out how to do it. All right, let's move on to the next cut. All right, coming out of this tunnel here, I recommend a drift on this corner right before the top of the little hill there. You notice there's a little bit of an incline here, and the car jumps. See how it jumps like that? You got to be sideways before that, okay? So just like this. Sideways, downshift, and then control the car. All right, there are a couple of tunnels here where you can do some wall rides. I recommend this one at 70%. You go very, very low on the wall ride. You don't want to go high because you'll hit these arrows and it'll stop your car completely. So I do wall ride that one. And then you got this pretty long section with a bunch of gutters. So gutter turn, gutter turn, gutter turn, all the way to here. And then you go through another tunnel right towards the end, right here. And I recommend wall riding this as well. Again, try to stay low until after the arrows. And then you can get high. But there you go. That's it. Let's move on. All right, the next event is called Emotion on Four Wheels. And this one, there are a couple of cuts. So let's get to those quickly. All right, the first one's here at 21%. I veer to the right. And then I drift across this. Actually, I said I drift, but on this particular clip, I didn't drift it. I just gripped it the whole way, but you just cut across the dirt there. Make sure you're going to the left of that checkpoint. Let me go back and just show it to you again. So we go out to the right here, and then across the dirt to the left of this checkpoint, and there you go. After this long straight here, you're going to do a wall ride. It's much faster than slowing down normally, and it's effectively the same thing. You're just able to go all the way into it like as fast as possible, and then the wall slows you down. So there you go. Right here at 45, you may be tempted to go across the dirt. It is possible to go across the dirt because the checkpoint is on the other side. However, you have to use a lot of NOS to keep your speed up to make it even worth it. This car handles very, very well, and I recommend going around and taking this gutter and keeping a lot of speed going into this next corner. So you notice you can hit this gutter here and still keep a bunch of speed to keep going. So if you do the dirt, you're gonna have to really be on the NOS. All right, the next cut is right here at the top of the hill at 66. You're gonna go towards this checkpoint, turn to the left, and regain with the road. And finally, the last cut for this particular race is right after this last gutter here. Just go ahead and cut to the right after that tree. Nice and slow, just go down the hill. It's actually faster than going around and using the gutter. And that's basically it. You're just nosing to the end. All right, let's move on. All right, the third event is called A Lifetime Journey. And this is, again, a loaned Carrera GT. There's a few cuts on this race as well. All right, the first one here is about 37%. You're gonna drift into this grass and end at the checkpoint. Now, if you do it correctly, you notice how I went right through the middle of the checkpoint? You wanna be more to the right because you can actually stay on the road. You don't have to end off the road. So I went way too much left and ended up in the dirt. If I would have just went more right and maybe ended on the right side of that checkpoint, it would have been much better. Anyways, little things like that. All right, then there's a wall ride here at the end of this turn. Not a wall ride, but a wall bang. I went a little too early into the wall, which caused me to lose some time there. I would say go more towards the middle of the wall. Right after that, you're going to be going straight down this road here. And when you get to this checkpoint here, you're going to cut across the grass. And it'll jump you back onto the road there. I actually cleared the block wall. Immediately after that, you'll cut to the right of this big tree here. Let me see if I can get a good image of it. It's this one here with all these branches. You want to be to the right of that tree. I almost messed this up, but let me show you what it looks like in real time. Cut to the right, get an eyeball on that big tree, and try to stay to the right of that. That's pretty much it. Let me see if there's any... Nope, you're on the road for the rest of the race. All right, let's move on. All right, the next event is called Experience Roads. There are a couple of cuts in this one, but not very many. So let's just go straight to those. At the bottom of this hill, you're going to stay in this gutter and then cut across the grass here and go to the left of the checkpoint. Just make sure you get close enough to get credit for that checkpoint. After that, you're going to want to stay in this gutter here. And it's not really a cut, but there's a lot of gutter turns here on this path. So let me just fast forward to the next cut. All right. When you're coming out of this tree section here, right when you see the fire truck, you kind of go left. Right after that, just stay controlled. You know, you don't have to rush it across there. Just go straight across that grass. You'll be good. And that's actually, I think, the last cut in this race. Let me fast forward just to see here. I'm pretty sure that's the last one. Go around here, around there. Yep, that is it. A couple of gutter turns and you're done. All right, let's move on. All right, the next one is called Discovering Places. And I think there's only like 2 or 3 cuts on this one, so I'll go straight to those. Actually, this corner at 30% can be tricky. My visual cue to turn in is this light pole right here. I want to turn in just after that, like in between that and the other pole. So you notice how I basically went right between it. So I missed that pole, turned in right after that pole. That's what my visual cue. That's what I'm looking for. I missed those poles. That's basically how you want to take it. The reason is because there's a jump right there. And if you don't do it like that, you'll end up in the grass on the other side. Now, at the bottom of this hill, there's another cut here. If you're going, you know, fast enough, you can cut right after the trees and keep turning because the road goes left. So you're going to have to keep turning. Make sure, even if you drift a little bit, it's fine. Just make sure you stay on the road. You don't want to extend into the sand or on the right side there. One thing I noticed with this car is you got to get it into 6th early. So let me back up here. So as I'm getting here, I'm in 5th. I shift up to 6th before we get to red line, and then I blast the NOS. You can do it actually from 4th. You can like completely skip 5th gear if you have a full tank of NOS and your goal is to get the car to top speed. It responds to NOS very well in 6th gear. So that's definitely when you want to use the majority of it. All right, here at about 90%, I did a wall ride for this pretty difficult turn. And then you're basically at the end. You'll notice on this last straight, I did the same thing. I shifted from 4th, skipped 5th completely, went straight into 6th, and NOS all the way to the finish line. I strongly recommend doing that. You're gonna save some time doing that. Let's move on. All right, the last event is called More Than a Road Trip, and this one doesn't have any cuts in it. But the most important thing here is managing your NOS correctly. And there's it's kind of a technical section that happens like towards the end. I think it's about 75% or so of the race. There's a little technical section, so I'm going to show you that. The rest of it is just managing your NOS. And I strongly recommend, again, is to use NOS in the higher gears. Let it build up here in the beginning. Start to use it in like 5th and 6th. So let me get to that technical section. All right, it starts right about here at 60%. I downshift to 4th for these gutters. And I stay in 4th basically until we get into the tighter section. So right here, I use NOS to keep the car going. But by staying in 4th on those turns, you're gonna not give the car as much of a chance to slip out. It actually controls the car much better, and that's better for you. But on those next 2, 3rd gear, on this one I went way too wide and lost the car. Didn't expect to do that, but you know, it is what it is. But outside of that, again, back to managing NOS. Shift into 6th early. Use a lot of your NOS and get the car up to speed that way. So anyways, let's move on to the feats. All right, we have a speed trap, which means a crazy jump from somewhere that you didn't expect. And this one happens right here. This is the jump that you want to jump off of. It's this hill on the other side of this bridge. And you're going to be coming down the hill in this direction. Just take note of the mini map, but this is the jump. You need to have pure and frenetic as your affixes, and then you can fly all the way to the speed trap. This was 328 miles an hour. which is higher than the car's top speeds. The only way to do it is by air nos. So you don't have to do this. If you get like 304, 305, or you have a slipstream partner, I think that still gives you 150,000 points. So you don't have to do this method. But if you're looking for the max score or near max score, then you got to do something like this. It was pretty frustrating, but I'll show you where I'm jumping from. And there's a bunch of attempts. Let me go back here. All right, so here's the most frustrating part of it, is just getting down the hill. So here's what I did. Went down the hill, try to get the lineup. And then once you've got the lineup, then it's all about just rewinding and making sure you got the right angle. So make sure you have rewind on when you're doing this. You'll be all right. Anyways, let's move on. All right, the escape was actually pretty easy this time around. We knew this path. So again, get it into 6th early so you can have, close to top speed when you get to these bridges. Basically, you're gonna follow this road around. This road has a natural bend here. You're gonna keep going until it ends and make a right. So make a right here. Slow down because you're gonna make a left. The first left, you're gonna cut left. And then this is it. Follow this road until it ends. There's one tricky spot down here. I'll fast forward a little bit. Right here. You gotta go through this alleyway and then stay left. But that's about it. Other than that, it's basically a straight shot on the road. So there you go. All right, if you're looking for the most points on the slalom, I would say definitely put your skilled affix on score breaker parts. You got to have score breaker for slaloms. It's just necessary. And then go in the reverse direction. It rewards more points that way. It might be a little bit harder because you have to jump up on the building, but it is what it is, man. Make sure you have score breaker. Make sure you have skilled, maxed out. You're good to go. All right, here are my final scores. Thank you so much for watching. You make sure you DM me with any questions you might have, and I will respond as soon as possible. Sometimes it takes me a day or two to get back to you, but I will respond. Thank you so much for watching. Appreciate it. Hope this helps, and I will catch you on the next one. Trigger out.